Hi, Joanna. Hi, everyone. This is Anna. If you have no idea what this is all about, I've been studying human design and living my own experiment for quite a while now, a little more than 6 years. I've been very passionate about human design ever since I started diving into it more deeply on my own journey. It's been very helpful for me in so many ways in terms of navigating my business, my relationships, and everything else in my life. But definitely in business, especially, it's helped me create a lot more ease and just really find ways for me to work that really feel good and that create results a lot more sustainably than what I experienced on other parts of my journey. And for a little while now, I've been getting the nudge to start offering more personalized readings and just make human design part of my work more. I've been doing human design readings for friends and family for quite a long time, but I haven't really promoted them much other than that. But more recently, I've really been getting some very clear nudges, and I'm very excited about the opportunity. The first thing I wanted to do is I felt inspired to share some demo readings here on my YouTube channel. And yeah, just to give you an idea of what this is all about, what a reading with me could look like. And Joanna was one of the first people who jumped on this opportunity, and she's very generously allowing me to read her chart today in exchange for letting me use it as a demo on my YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Joanna. I'm very grateful to you and very excited to read for you today. And Joanna, I know that you're already familiar with human design a little bit and you've had your chart read before, so quite a few things here will probably be familiar, but I hope that this will also help to give it a little bit more insight into some other areas that you haven't looked at yet, or maybe some nuances or new perspectives. So I will go through this pretty much the way I usually would. I will probably keep it a little bit shorter than a full reading with me, but other than that, I want to cover all the most important basics and really give you a good overview of your chart. And I also like to go with my intuitive flow quite a bit and just highlight the things that stand out to me. One thing I'm really passionate about and that I think I'm good at is really recognizing patterns in a chart. So not just the details, but just some things that stand out to me. So the first thing I want to dive into is your type and your strategy. That's always the first thing that we look at. So human design is really a tool that's here to help us navigate life in a more natural way based on what is natural for our own design, what is most authentic for us. It's also a tool for awareness. We can see where our shadows might sneak in, where we might have a tendency to self-sabotage. But the first thing that we always look at is the type and the strategy, which really speaks about how we are designed to create opportunities, to engage with life in a way that is fulfilling and satisfying for us, that allows us to express our gifts in the way that brings us the most joy, but that is also serving others the most. And so we're all interconnected. And if we, as individuals, can allow and embrace our most natural way of creating and relating and engaging with life, then that always serves everyone else best because then we are in the best possible place and we complement each other in the best possible way. So Joanna is a manifesting generator, and that means she is an energy type. Manifesting generators and generators are energy types, and together they make up about 70% of the population here on Earth. And the strategy for a manifesting generator, so this is really the way that you're designed to naturally enter into new experiences. So both manifesting generators and generators have this strategy of waiting to respond. And what this basically means is that we have a magnetic aura that continuously draws in opportunities, people, things to respond to. So we really don't need to go out and make things happen or force things to happen. If we do that, then we're actually going against our design. We're not here to initiate. Most people are not. And so when we can relax more into that flow of waiting for things to come to us, that we can then respond to based on our inner authority, which I'll explain in a moment, then we really enter into things correctly based on our human design. And then we enter into things and situations and experiences that bring us satisfaction and joy, and that are also a lot more sustainable in the long run. So the inner authority is really our decision-making process. So Joanna has sacral authority, which means she has the sacral center here defined. Everything that is colored in here in the chart is defined. Everything that is white is open or undefined. And she has an undefined emotional center, so she doesn't have emotional authority, which is the most common one. But any generator or a manifesting generator that only has the sacral defined but not the emotional center, the solar plexus, will have sacral authority. And what this means is you basically trust your gut response, and it's something that happens in the moment. So when you're presented with an opportunity or you meet a new person, then you can pretty much trust what you're feeling in the moment. If it feels good, you're feeling excited, then you can trust that this is the right thing for you. If you're just really not feeling it, then it's probably a no, and you don't really need to take too much time to feel into things. So if you're feeling the immediate yes, then you can trust it. If you're feeling the immediate no, then you can trust it as well. So if you enter into experiences correctly in this way, then you will experience your signature theme of satisfaction. If you're entering into things incorrectly, meaning that you're not waiting to respond, that you're initiating or forcing things, or you're saying yes to things that you're actually not feeling and that are not bringing you joy, then you'll experience the not self theme of frustration. Now, as a manifesting generator, you are actually a hybrid between a generator and a manifester. And the not self theme of the manifester is anger. So that may also be an indicator that you have entered into a situation or experience that is not the right fit for you. Or sometimes it can also mean that you've outgrown something and that it's time for you to move on to something else. So even if you've entered into a situation correctly over time, if it's time for you to enter into something else or let something go, then you might also feel that. The next thing that we're going to look at is your profile. So your 1-3 profile. You have the 1 on the conscious side, your mind or personality side. You have the 3 on the unconscious side, which is also your body. And this really speaks about, well, first of all, your personality in a way, but also the way that you move through life. So there are 12 different profiles in human design. I'm actually also 1-3, so I can relate to this on a very personal level. And the 1 on the conscious side is really the investigator. So this is someone who likes to go deep into things, to research, to have a solid foundation as well before really jumping into something or making decisions. Although as a manifesting generator, you'll also have a natural tendency to leap into things as well. So that will probably balance that out a little bit. But yeah, you'll probably still have that desire to go deep into things when you enter into new experience. You really want to see it all and explore it all and experience it all. And so it can manifest in that way as well. Now, the 3 on your body side, the official term is the martyr, but this is really a design of exploring, adventuring, and wanting to try out a lot of different experiences. And because it's on the unconscious side or in the body, often this will feel like you naturally bump into things, new things to experience. And then, yeah, if you bump into something, that you really want to explore. Again, you will explore it deeply, but you'll also really want to keep exploring new things. That is also part of the three. The three is also about trial and error. So learning by making mistakes is really important for the 1-3 or for anyone with a 3 in their profile. So it's important not to be afraid of making mistakes. And that is part of the conditioning that a lot of us have in our modern world. We learn pretty early on as children that it's not okay to make mistakes and we have to be perfect. And so this is really not ideal for third lines. We really have to have the freedom to explore and experiment and make mistakes. And based on that, we first usually learn what doesn't work, but then we also get a lot of information about what does work. Ultimately, we find the best solutions, and we also help other people save time on their own journeys because we can share all the things that we've learned that we already know don't work. The next thing I want to cover briefly, and I know you probably already know this, Joanna, but just for anyone who's completely new to human design. So as I mentioned, everything that is colored in here, this is defined, and everything that's white here is undefined or open. Usually we use the word open for a center that is completely white with no gates defined. So this one, for example, here, for example, you can see there's one gate activated here. So this would be an undefined center. And the defined centers, these are the places in our chart and also the channels where we express ourselves consistently, where we have a consistent way of operating. Whereas anything that's undefined or open, we tend to take in energy from the people around us more, and we amplify those energies. And we also take in conditioning from the people around us. And it can feel like it's our own, but it's actually not. We're just mirroring what we take in from the world around us. Now, one thing I want to clarify, though, and that is, I feel, a misunderstanding that is quite common in the human design world, and not a lot of people, I feel, explain this very clearly. Even though we take in conditioning more easily in these centers, this doesn't mean that we can't have conditioning in our defined centers, but everything that's defined is more personal. That's typically where we have more the conditioning that we took on, usually starting at an early age, and these are the patterns that keep repeating themselves that are more personal and not so much based on who is around us. And so there's still deconditioning or deprogramming work that needs to happen in those areas potentially as well, but it will take a little bit more effort and time. Whereas the open centers, if we recognize our not self themes, which I'll go into in a moment, then we can kind of flip the switch pretty easily when we understand, okay, this is not really mine. I'm just taking this in. It's not personal. And then we can shift things pretty quickly. For example, the undefined ajna here, this is where our beliefs are, also our knowing, our knowledge, our intuition, part of it as well. The spleen here is also the more primal intuition. But yeah, if we look at this through the lens of where we might have limiting beliefs, if you have a defined ajna, then those beliefs can really be stuck there and take time to deprogram. But if you have an undefined ajna, then it can be a lot quicker. You just realize, oh, this is not mine, and you just kind of flip the switch. And so let me see what I want to dive into a little bit more here. Maybe I'll just highlight every single center here very quickly for everyone who's new to human design. I will do some more charts a little bit later, and I probably won't repeat this every single time if it's not relevant for the specific question that someone asked, but Joanna did ask for a general reading. So we'll start here at the head center. And so this is where our inspiration comes from, and also our questions. And so your head center is completely open, which is quite common. A lot of people have an open or undefined head center. And so the not self theme here is basically overthinking things or trying to answer everybody else's questions. That's the official definition. But this can manifest as overthinking or trying to figure out somebody else's problems and thinking it's yours, but it's really not. And yeah, wherever we kind of go into those not self themes, that's where we tend to lose energy as well. So the more aware we can be, the easier it can be to kind of plug those energetic leaks. With the undefined or open ajna, the not self theme is pretending to be certain about things. So if you're not sure about something, it's okay. And you don't need to convince anyone that you are certain about something that you are not certain about. Then the open ego or will center, sometimes also called the heart center. So this is also completely open, also quite common. Only about 30% of all people have a defined heart center. And this is where our sense of self-worth is. And so the compensation pattern when we're in the not self theme here would be doing things to prove our worth. So sometimes this could manifest as overworking or just simply doing other things to prove that we are worthy. This will tend to manifest a little bit differently for different types as well. Yeah, there's a lot of nuances here, but this is just something to be aware of. You have nothing to prove. You are worthy just because you are. Then the solar plexus here, that is the seat of our emotions. And with an open or undefined solar plexus, you will tend to take in and amplify the emotional energy of the people around you. And again, it might feel like it's your own, but often it's not. So this is just something to be aware of. And again, it's not personal. Yeah, maybe one thing I'll mention here too, if you have a lot of open centers in your chart, then it's definitely going to be important to take your time to be in your own energy, to just come back to your own self. So, Joanna, you have a pretty good balance of open and defined centers. So you have 4 defined centers and 5 undefined centers. The undefined root here, the root is really our sense of timing, also our connection to the physical, but the way this manifests as the not self theme would be feeling under pressure, constantly rushing to get rid of the time pressure or the pressure to finish things. And you might feel this especially when you're around someone who has a defined route and they want you to do something and you immediately feel that pressure to go do it. You can waste a lot of energy with this. And I know this from personal experience. I have an undefined route as well. And for me, it's often manifested as, yeah, feeling like I'm just constantly like chasing the things on my to-do list and trying to get things done faster. And then there's always more piling up. And if you slow down a bit, then you actually notice that time expands and you're not creating so many new things to then also go and do and finish and complete. And yeah, so just something to be aware of. Let's look at the defined centers as well. So you have a defined sacral, which makes you a generator type, an energy type, but also because you have a motor connected to your throat, that makes you a manifesting generator. So in your case, it's the sacral is connected directly to the throat, and other motors include the will center, the solar plexus, and the root. So any of these, if they're connected to the throat, that would also make you a manifesting generator if you have a defined sacral. But this is a really powerful channel that you have here. My partner and I sometimes like to call this the busy channel. So this is a channel that literally sends life force energy directly from your sacral to your throat. And so that is the direct manifesting energy. You can go into things really quickly. So the 20 here likes to really take action quickly, and the sacral energy here provides the energy for that. So when you're passionate about something, you can really move forward with it quickly and you can keep doing and really, yeah, keep going for a long time. If you're jumping into things maybe from the wrong motivation or based on your not self, like a not self theme or a shadow theme, then this could also manifest as a shadow that, yeah, where you're just constantly busy and doing things and you can burn yourself out that way too. But overall, this is a very productive channel that can accomplish a lot in a short period of time as well. Then, yeah, so I won't highlight every single channel here, but a few things that I'm noticing. So this is the channel of the alpha, and this is a leadership channel. This is more like serving the collective as well, or like more of an administrative energy. And it depends a little bit on the line activations that you have here as well. I won't go into this in too much detail. But yeah, leadership energy here for sure. And with being a manifesting generator, you have that anyway. Also the 57 here, this is like a really intuitive gate. And again, you have this one connected. So this is also a full channel, and this is a full channel, and this is a full channel, but you have the 57 connected to two gates. And I know you do intuitive work, so this is just confirming that this is one of your gifts. Yeah, that's definitely going to be an important one for you. Okay, so as I'm editing the video now, I just realized that there are a couple things that I forgot to go into, so I just want to add that here. So the remaining defined centers that I haven't actually talked about yet, I did talk about the defined sacral, and then I went into the channels, and then I forgot the rest. So the next defined center that Joanna has here is the throat center. And the throat center really is about the way we communicate. And what this means here is you have a very consistent way of communicating, and also because you have a lot of energy going to your throat, then you will tend to have a very energetic way of communicating as well, and also a quick way of communicating with this channel here. Then you also have a defined G center, which is your seat of identity. And so, again, you have a consistent way of expressing yourself in that area. You have a consistent identity that doesn't change so much based on who you're spending time with. People who have an open or undefined G center will tend to be more like chameleons, and that's me, for example. And that expression can change based on who we're with, where we are, and even the phases in our lives as well. But you have a consistent identity and also connected to your throat. So this is also your self-expression as well. Then you have defined spleen as well. And the spleen is really our most primal awareness center. Even animals have the spleen in their chart as well. So this is where our instinct is, and also, yeah, it can be our primal fears and also our intuition. So I did talk about the 57, which is a very intuitive gate, but this really speaks more through the body and not so much through the mind, or like the ajna up here is also an awareness center, and intuition can sometimes speak through the centers up here as well. That would be more the channeling or the inner knowing. Claircognizance would be up here, but this is more primal and really the instinctual level. It's very quick, sometimes easy to miss if we don't pay attention. And again, you have a consistent energy here. And what can sometimes happen if you, let's say, have a relationship with someone who has an open spleen, then sometimes this can lead to codependency, and there are other places in the chart as well where that can happen more for the other person. People with open spleens will have a tendency to hold on to the feeling of safety and security that kind of emanates from the people with defined spleens, or also hold on to situations that might be unhealthy for too long, because they're looking for that sense of safety in others. So this is just a little addition here. Now let's move on with the next thing. Now I'm going to look at some of the little details that are sometimes fun to highlight and explore, and usually more in connection with specific questions I get, but some of these, yeah, I think are just fun to look at. So when you look up here, the arrows here, these are the variables. And one thing I'll say, if you look at your chart and you have the variables here, but your time of birth may not be completely accurate, then these are things that can change pretty quickly. With you, Joanna, I believe it's probably quite accurate, because if I see the, yeah, 1331 here, if it's pretty much the exact minute, then this should be accurate. But sometimes people don't know, maybe they know they were born at 1:30 or 11 a.m. or something like that, 11 p.m., then this might be an indication that may not be completely accurate. So you'll just really want to be discerning with that information and really feel in and check in with yourself to see if this feels accurate for you, if it feels true to you, and then also experiment with it over time. So discernment is always important. But one thing I'm noticing here, Joanna, is you have four left-facing arrows, and I haven't seen too many people with all arrows facing in the same direction, but sometimes it happens. And the left-facing arrows are really all about, this is the masculine energy. So this is a very straightforward energy. Um, the left-facing arrow up here is about being strategic. This one is having a focused mind. And yeah, just overall, so you really have the ability to strategize and also implement in that same straightforward way. The energy I'm getting from this is really you can go forward with things really quickly once you've made a decision. And yeah, so there's a very direct implementation energy here, or like strategizing and implementing down here. And then there's some other little things that we can look at in connection with the variables. And I won't look at every single one of them, but for creative people in business, I always find that some of these are quite helpful. So up here we have the digestive type. And yeah, so this would be it here, the six. Okay. Now when I hover over these, it'll actually show the tool tip. So you actually are the same digestive type as me as well. So this is direct light. That's the full term here. So what this means is that you digest your food and also information best when you are in the light. So ideally outside in the sun. So you need a lot of sunlight. And if you're in a dark space, that makes it a lot harder for you to process information or digest your food in a way that nourishes you in the most optimal way. Let me know if that resonates. I know in my own journey, this felt so accurate even before, long before I knew about human design. I would always go outside to eat whenever I could. Then the ideal environment is something I often like to look at as well. So you are an internal markets person, which is the opposite of mine. I'm an external markets person. And so internal markets or markets in general are, yeah, it could be literal marketplaces like a farmer's market or a store that you go to, grocery store, or just any place where business happens. Now, as an internal markets person, you're more the type of person that will create that space. So you invite people in, whereas an external markets person would do the opposite. So that would be more about going to other people's marketplaces, platforms. And so this is the kind of space that, yeah, that supports your energy the most. And you can play with this. So what I want to say here too is you can't really go into this with the mind. So the basic idea of human design really is to connect you with your intuitive way of creating more through the body, and you can't initiate things from the mind. And so even if you know all these little details about your chart, and even if it feels accurate, you still can't really go into it that way. So you can't just say, okay, I gotta figure out um, how to create, this ideal internal market for myself. But your strategy, when you operate correctly based on your strategy and authority, will naturally be drawn to those places, or they will, yeah, you'll just they will come your way. So that's how to really enter into it correctly. But this can give you some insights, especially if you're operating in the exact opposite way. It can give you insights about where you might be draining your energy. So one thing I used to do, for example, when so as an external markets person, I'm designed to go out and not invite people into my own space as much. So when I used to run Facebook groups on my own and things like that, that always drained my energy. But if I go to other people's groups, then that's more supportive of my energy. So for you, it would be the other way around. And then, yeah, if you want to create something that is kind of goes against your design, it's always better to do it with someone else who has a different, like a different design. You can always complement each other too in collaborations. And yeah, don't want to go too deep here with that. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So your strategy and authority will always lead you to the right places automatically as well if you listen to that. Okay, so I think this is everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you so much, Joanna, again, for letting me read for you. And I can't wait to hear your feedback and let me know how all of this resonates. Also, if I said anything that didn't make complete sense or you want me to clarify anything, then please just let me know. And for anyone else who is watching this and who may be interested in having their chart read by me, I'll leave the link to my website down below where you can explore different ways of working with me. This is probably going to evolve a little bit over time, but right now I offer these types of recorded readings that will be a little bit more in depth than what you saw here. And you can also schedule one-on-one sessions with me. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to be back with the next demo very soon.